Hello everyone, Brad Johnson here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about a very common subject that I'm discovering throughout the internet through people that have been talking to me as well too, just through emails and even through sessions. It is nearing the end game and World War III aversion. Now this is one of the big topics that again I see so much on Facebook with people talking about the Third World War and that Russia's getting deployed or prepared for this particular type of chance or a situation that may lead into a Third World War. And a lot of people are very, very frantic about this. And as I see this desperation, which really represents the energies of this empire that has been crumbling for so many decades now, actually something like this really makes me smile, because this is showing me that they have reached the end of their agenda playbook. And throughout so many decades now, we have seen a lot of attempts of them being able to start up a Third World War and trying to be able to do it first very, very subtly, and then trying to step it up a little bit more and a little bit more intensely, and basically attempting to create ploys in between countries, create the ISIL movement in that way. And all of these have collapsed. And basically they have reached their end game. And it's like looking at an old man in a hospital bed, just going frantic before he's about to lose his breath and pass away. That he basically wants to try and take everybody in the room with him. But the whole idea is that this whole aspect of a cabal, if you will, an empire in that way, the shadow self of the collective consciousness, is now on its way out. Now that's not to say that the next couple of weeks leading up into the election day of November 8th is not going to be very intense. Because basically, if they cannot pull this off, if they are not able to establish some type of establishment, I guess you could say, within the next couple of weeks leading up to the 8th of November, they're finished. 100% completely finished. And I will not even try and belittle that in any way. That is a truism as it relates to this. I can guarantee 100% that if they do not, in that sense, allow this establishment to put together a certain candidate and put that established person in the White House and basically attempt to have their established rule come together by November 8th, they are finished. 100%. And that is exactly why they are frantic right now. They are basically doing whatever they can. Again, it's like seeing this child in the most horrible aspect of a temper tantrum you can ever imagine. And the whole idea is that their frantic nature is becoming so obvious and is becoming so publicly exposed that this, again, just makes me smile. Because it just shows that they've made far too many errors. They've been tripping over their own feet, and they've been falling and falling and plummeting and plummeting. Now again, a lot of people say, well, Brad, what about a nuclear strike? What about a nuclear war? No. You have to understand that since the 1950s and 1960s, there have been, again, a lot of attempts to try and make these nuclear threats a reality. Every single time that this has happened, nuclear silos have been deactivated. Now again, this has happened so much that, again, military intelligence did not want the public to know that their nuclear silos were being completely deactivated. That, again, extraterrestrial intervention would come in. These ships, sometimes they are even part of Earth alliances. Sometimes, again, they can be extraterrestrial intelligence. Sometimes they could be Solar Warden or any other particular aspect of the secret space program, even, can actually come in and deactivate these silos, just as easy it is for us to snap a finger. So the whole idea in that sense of looking through all of these decades of when these have actually happened is, again, no more different than what is happening right now. If there were any particular type of attempt of a nuclear strike from any particular party or nation or government on this planet, it would be deactivated and it would end before it starts. That is not where we're going. And I know that there's a lot of people talking, well, Russia is preparing themselves and they're calling back a lot of their citizens, etc. Yes, they're going into a fail-safe, a fallback process. They're being prepared in that particular way, and they're basically, in that sense, covering their bases. That does not mean that this is going to take place, because even though that there are many different alliances, white hat alliances, they believe that they still, in the way of military thinking, still have to prepare for the worst. And again, that is basically what they would consider to be the fallback of a worst-case scenario. But I can basically state that as a reality whisperer, that as someone who has been observing for many years these aspects of a cabal, an empire, that is attempting to establish their own rule, they've basically reached that point where that is impossible. Because the whole idea is that we have gained so much knowledge, so much intelligence. Everything is now really out in the open right now. There's so much of an alliance, a resistance that has been forged, that has foiled all of these particular types of attempts to try and fully establish an empire. The whole idea of a quote-unquote new world order has never happened. There has always been the attempts. There's been staging grounds. There's been phases where they have attempted to get everything in place to eventually hit the button, hit the key, and that would bring them into something that would relate to an establishment that could be considered that particular type of energy of an NWO. But that has no longer been the plan, and again, it was never for them to establish a particular type of plan. We have jumped through so many different timelines. We have shifted through so many different dimensional Earths that the collective consciousness is going up here. But in order for us to fully go up here, we need to see everything that's going down here. This is again all part of a process of equivalent exchange. That if you truly want to see yourself moving into such an ascent, such an advancement, you need to see the most sour, the most horrible, the most shadow-reflecting energies possible, so that these things can be fully exposed so we can see exactly what has been happening on this planet. You cannot have that type of exposure through the idea of a type of subtlety, of just a bunch of whistleblowers that are blowing this information out. You need to see it actually in faculty, as it pertains to those people that are attempting to establish an empire. You need to see them slip. You need to see them exposed. You need to see exactly how much they are tripping over their own feet and what particular types of agendas they have. And denial is all part of the process. They are, that's basically just all part of their game. They are gaslighters. And I would ask you guys to look that up if you're not too sure what I mean by gaslighting. And basically what they will do is utilizing very simple aspects of psychological nature to try and deny themselves, feeling that people are mentally incompetent, that they're crazy, that they're insane, to basically cover their tracks. This is known as gaslighting, and that's basically what they are prolific gaslighters. So the whole idea is that everything has basically come to a culmination point. They are on their last page of that agenda playbook, and if this doesn't work for them, they're done. The game will be over. It will be an end game. Now, as I've stated, and Adronis has come through as well too, talking about the next 8 years from 2016 to 2024 is a span of change. Throughout this particular span of now moving up into about 7 years, we are now starting to see everything starting to rip itself out. We're now starting to see everything in regards to the roots being particularly exposed here. So from 2017 to 2024, which, yes, can still be in 8 years in that way too, then we're going to see a lot more of this change happen, this particular aspect of where everybody, from white hats, from people, from grassroots, from whistleblowers, everybody, all of this next 7 to 8 years is going to result in people ripping out, uprooting all of this particular type of exposure. Because once they are finally out of the way, now all of this truth can be exposed, and that is primarily what the rest of the span of change is all about, is being able to see that these cockroaches are now finally out of the way. They've been contained. And now we can see exactly where all the damage has been done. This is again what's starting to happen when we move into the year of connection into 2017, is being able to see how everything connects together. This is why it's been called a year of connection, is how everything is collating, everything is interconnecting, how we are connecting with each other, how working together creates a connection of exposure, a connection of disclosure. That's where we're headed. So for, again, those of you who may be very much in a state of fright right now as it pertains of saying that, oh my God, is there going to be a third world war? I can't give you, 100% certainty of thinking that what I say is going to make you feel better, right? All I can say is, in my own particular perspective, that I can basically guarantee that there will not be one. Now, take that for what that's worth, because it's your own truth that matters. It's your own perspectives that truly matter here. But that is my own particular perspective. Again, that the idea is that they're trying to bring this one golden candidate into power, and if that person fails, then they're done, and they're completely demolished, and their end game basically has a stamp on it. It's the final nail in the coffin. So this is basically a very, very exciting time, and from where I see everything headed, they will not succeed. There's just no possible way. So much has been exposed. Their entire plans have been foiled. Everything is there. And now, like frantic children, they're having horrific temper tantrums and basically doing everything they possibly can, silencing people, murdering people, doing everything that they possibly can to fight this off, to try and think that they can establish their order. But it's already been too late. It's been too late for years now. But again, this is them playing in their last playbook and saying, okay, administration of the universe, we want to be able to do this. Nope. Okay, well, we're going to try and do this. We're going to do this kind of terrorist attack. We're going to do this kind of false flag. Nope, not going to happen. Or what if I try this? What if we go ahead and do this and we mess with this country and we do this and we do that, and etc. Nope, not going to happen. It's the whole idea is that you cannot continue to bend the elastic band of the collective consciousness because we are the decision makers. But again, we're allowing them to bend the elastic band because we need to see them exposed. We need to see them out in the open. We need to see everything that they have been doing. And through the idea of much of the white hat alliances, of the whistleblowers and many other people who have come forward and showed a lot of this stuff, that elastic band is eventually going to snap back right at them. It's like kind of looking at this really long elastic band, and when you're aiming it, all of a sudden it slips off your thumb, bam, it was you right in the eye, right? And you're blinded. That's basically what's happening to them. They're, again, tripping over their own feet. So again, that is my own particular perspective about where things are going. It's not to say that it's going to not be an intense couple of weeks leading up into early November. It certainly will be. It will be very, very intense. And what I would say is brace yourself, but continue to spread the love that you are. The whole idea, again, is that this is a shadow of our collective consciousness that has been brewing for thousands of years. It's going to be very, very intense because we as human beings are so creative. We also have that negative aspect of creativity as well, too. That is sadistic. That is horrifying. And that basically is part of our collective consciousness. We're basically attempting to work together with these shadows. And we've seen a lot of this divide as it pertains to ego. And basically two egomaniacal forces come together. They obliterate one another, and that brings everything back into balance. Because the whole idea is that it's chaos raining down upon chaos, and natural order brings the energies back together. So that's where we are going. So there is an aversion to the idea of a WW3, and that we are near an end game, and it will not be long before we see this entire thing culminate and conclude, and finally, for the first time ever, the human race itself will now start to live on a planet that is complementing them. That is now, they are now starting to work together in complementing the planet. This is why, again, we haven't been wiped off the planet. The planet truly does see us as a complement to herself. And that as we start working together more with her, we will start to see that. Again, if she wanted to wipe us off the planet, she would have been doing it a long, long time ago. That's not where we're going. There's a love, there is a sacredness to all life, even human race, that has no idea how to operate on the planet. Will be soon, because basically a lot of these particular opposing agendas, these aspects of obstructions that have been preventing us from being able to live in harmony with the planet are going to fall, and they're going to fall very fast. When it happens, it's a domino effect. So that is basically where I'm seeing things happen. And again, I hope this video has helped you in that way. But again, it's your truth also that matters. Where do you see this headed as well? That's a question you need to ask yourself. This is something that I'm discovering through the reality that is communicating with me about the idea of this new transformation that is about to happen. And 2017 is going to be one amazing year as a year of connection. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Feel free again to check out realitywhisperer.com, sessions, digital courses, free media, and a lot more. I'm Brad Johnson. Take care, and I will speak to you again in another perspective of the now. May it be well with you. Goodbye.